Hey, what's up guys, Will here for GSM Arena. If you're looking to get Samsung's latest flagship, but you're not after the Ultra model, there are a couple of choices. The first is the compact option, the vanilla Galaxy S25. But if you want to go up a size, then there's the Galaxy S25 Plus. These two phones differ in more than just their size. Let's put them head to head and find out which one is right for you. The Galaxy S25 is the least expensive of the new S-series flagships. The S25 Plus costs more, but it has a larger, higher-res screen, a bigger battery, and faster charging. The size of your hands might affect your preference too. The S25 Plus is both bigger and about 30 grams heavier. The design of either hasn't changed much since last year. Again, both phones have an Armor Aluminum 2 frame, and a back and front protected by Gorilla Glass Victus 2. For ingress protection, you get the same treatment on both phones. They're IP68 rated for submersion in up to 1.5 meters of water for 30 minutes. The screens of both phones haven't changed since last year. On the S25, you get a 6.2-inch LTPO OLED with a 1080p resolution and a 120Hz refresh rate. The S25 Plus is 6.7 inches, and it's also higher res with a QHD resolution. So the S25 Plus has not only more screen space, but its screen is a bit sharper. The S25 screen still looks great though, and both phones support HDR10+ video content. Both phone screens have the same great brightness as well, maxing out at over 1400 nits in auto mode when needed. And when it comes to refresh rate, both phones are extra adaptive. When idling, they can dial from 120Hz down to 24Hz, or even as low as 1Hz to save energy. Both S25 models have stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos support. The Plus models are slightly louder, but the sound quality is just as good on either phone, clean with a bit of bass. Now let's hop into the battery life. The S25 has a 4000 mAh battery versus a larger 4900 mAh on the S25 Plus. Both phones earned a solid active use score, but the Plus model naturally comes with a tangible bump in its overall endurance. The charging speed is also different. Like previous generations, the vanilla S25 only gets support for 25-watt charging, while the Plus's is 45 watts. In our testing, the S25 was able to charge from 0 to 56% in 30 minutes, while the S25 Plus achieves 75% in the same amount of time, and it's a bigger battery we're talking about. A full charge was also about 18 minutes faster on the Plus model. Both phones support wireless charging too, and they're Qi 2.1 ready for wireless chargers with the new standard, provided you use a case with built-in magnets. One thing worth mentioning is that the S25 can come in a cheaper 128GB storage option, while the S25 Plus starts at 256GB. That's not expandable through microSD. The rest of the features I'll go over are practically the same between the two phones. You can wake up and unlock either the S25 or S25 Plus with an ultrasonic under-display fingerprint reader. And all of Samsung's new flagships use the same software package, One UI 7 on top of Android 15. There are plenty of AI-based features here. If you'd like to dive into the specifics of those features, we get into them in our Galaxy S25 review. We'll also be doing a dedicated video about One UI 7, and we'll drop a link when that's ready. And with either S25 flagship, Samsung promises 7 years of software support down the line. Unlike last year's models, which came with a different chipset depending on the region, the S25 series always comes with a specific one. It's called the Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy, a special variant of this year's top Qualcomm chip, which has higher clock speeds. With the same chipset and 12GB of RAM on either phone, it makes sense that the benchmark scores and overall performance are identical between the S25 and S25 Plus. The phones feel perfectly snappy and responsive. The thermal management of either phone is also along the lines of your typical flagship. Both the S25 and S25 Plus displayed heavy thermal throttling in our prolonged stress tests. Now we have the cameras, which haven't changed for yet another year in a row. Both the S25 and S25 Plus have a 50MP main cam, a 10MP 3x zoom, and a 12MP ultrawide cam. Since both of the phones had the same chipset and cameras, the quality is pretty much identical. let's have a brief look anyway. The main camera on both phones produces clean 12-megapixel stills with a good amount of detail, wide dynamic range, and punchy yet not over-the-top colors. The image quality is just like last year. At night, with automatic night mode, both phones produce photos with laid-back processing, nice colors, and good highlight retention, but not very bright shadows. There's plenty of noise too. The 3x zoomed photos from the telephoto cam match the main camera's processing in terms of colors and contrast. The detail is solid, and dynamic range is good. The low light photos from this camera are decent too, with plenty of detail and nice colors. Our Galaxy S25 review unit has a misaligned focus on its ultrawide cam, meaning some parts of the image come out blurry. This is not the case with our S25 Plus unit, so we'll show its ultrawide samples here as they're once again identical. They're not terribly sharp, but the dynamic range is wide and the contrast is good. The colors are well matched to the other cameras. The ultrawide cam's photos look good in low light for this sort of camera. The dynamic range is on point, and the overall processing seems to match the main cameras. Here's a comparison of the selfies taken with either phone, again with the same camera, a 12-megapixel one with autofocus. And here's a look at 4K selfie videos. In general, 4K videos from either phone come out with great quality. They're sharp, colorful, and detailed, with wide dynamic range. The main camera is very competent in low light conditions too. So there you have it guys, the compact Galaxy S25 versus the S25 Plus. With either phone you get a similar design, the latest flagship grade chipset, and the same software experience from Samsung, packed with AI features. The cameras are the same too. With the S25, you get the more compact form factor, and while the features are the same, this phone is less expensive. The S25 Plus provides a larger, higher-res screen and better battery life. The charging speed is faster, and the speakers are a bit louder, and only on the Plus model will you get ultra-wideband support. The S25 Plus does offer a few advantages, but if those aren't important to you, the user experience is the same on the smaller model, and you can save some cash. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you on the next one.